Anthrax is a scary word, I know, and most of us think of anthrax as a biological weapon, but did you realize that anthrax is a deadly bacteria in Texas soil? So my overall question is, how does anthrax get into the soil, and what are the potential risks to livestock and humans? My keen interest in anthrax was prompted not from the post 9/11 attacks as a biological weapon, but by chance. When we were looking into purchasing land in Valverde County, the realtor gave us a disclaimer notice from the Texas Animal Health Commission stating the potential outbreaks and risk of anthrax in this specific county. I was very curious and interested then in 2000 as I am now in 2016 because we did buy the land where most of the Texas outbreaks have been confined, a triangular area bounded by 5 other Texas counties. So what is anthrax? Anthrax is a serious and infectious disease caused by bacteria called Bacillus Anthracis. According to Terry Conger, an epidemiologist for the Texas Animal Health Commission, it is one of the first bacterium that scientists has identified as a killer. Anthrax is found naturally in the soil and manages to persist in the soil for hundreds of years, despite environmental extremes, including wind and rain. It commonly affects domestic and wild animals, and there are rare potential risks for humans as well. Anthrax spores remain dormant in the soil until eaten by cattle. Then once it is germinated, the animal can show signs of the illness between 3 to 7 days, depending on how many spores are ingested or inhaled. Death can occur within hours to 2 days. The disease is invariably fatal, according to Texas A&M AgriLife. So how does it get into the soil? First, the bacteria produces dormant spores and can live in the environment like soil for a very long time, even decades. Secondly, when the spores get into the body of an animal by eating grass or soil, or even a person inhaling or eating an infected animal, the body is rich with water, sugars, and other nutrients. The spores then are activated and turn into active growing cells. Finally, when they become active, the bacteria can multiply and spread out in the body, producing toxins, causing severe illness or death. This is called the anthrax cycle. The cycle begins in nature as a vegetative form. This is bacteria in infected animals from their waste or when it dies and decomposes. The spores are deposited in the soil, viable for years, but they are dormant. Spores then can enter the animal or human by ingestion, inhalation, or an open cut. When a person is exposed to an infected carcass, they can inhale or even touch the animal. The spores become active and multiply, causing serious illness or death. There are 2 factors that causes outbreaks of anthrax. 1, the presence of anthrax spores in the soil, and 2, suitable weather conditions. The deadly bacteria grows and contaminates the surface soil and grass after periods of wet, cool weather, followed by several weeks of hot, dry conditions, namely drought. Outbreaks in animals end when the cool weather arrives and the bacteria becomes dormant. Anthrax spores are in the soil laying dormant, but according to the Texas Department of State Health Services, to prevent outbreaks from killing your livestock or wild game, you need to vaccinate domestic animals. Wild game, not so easy. And unfortunately, the white-tailed deer suffer the most from these outbreaks, and it's recommended that the carcasses be burnt. In fact, the Texas Animal Health Commission requires thorough burning to prevent contaminating the ground with anthrax bacteria. And due to the environmental concerns, do not use heavy oils or tires to burn carcasses. Fuels that are permitted are gasoline, diesel, or wood. They advise persons not to move, touch, or open carcasses. It could further release bacteria into the environment. Do not salvage hides, horns, antlers, or other tissues from the carcasses as well. Texas anthrax and outbreaks can pose potentially serious environmental and health concerns, especially for those who ranch, hunt, or live in the South Texas Triangular counties. But as Josh Blanick, an AgriLife extension agent from San Angelo, states, anthrax has been around since the buffalo roamed the plains. It's here, it's always been here, and it's going to be here to stay. because it is a soil bacteria. It's not a big problem. I would just add, it's not a big problem if you are aware and informed of the deadly anthrax spores laying dormant in the Texas soil and the potential risk to animals and humans.